So on multiple occasions, like multiple times through this case file, the case file from Shasta County Superior Court, you can't look through that paperwork. That paperwork has been changed so many fucking times from the very beginning of this case. Like, the reason why I found out about the forgery was because I went into the courthouse and I got the case file from my attorney, Jennifer Ayers, who's a family law attorney, and she's a really good attorney. And she gave me a case file from her office of all the paperwork that she had filed in Shasta County Superior Court. Okay, I had a full copy of that case file. When I went into the Shasta County Superior Court clerk's office to look at the case file for our upcoming court date, right? I opened up the case file and I went through it, and none of the paperwork that Jennifer Ayers filed, like none of it was the same. Like none of it from my lawyer, dude. And so, like, I was pissed. I started asking, why is this changed? Like, why is this different? Why is this different? Why is there paperwork taken out of the case file that should be there? You know, some of the orders were changed. Now, they used to use an old filing system, which basically means, like, when you take your paperwork in there to file it for your court case, right? You give it to the court clerk, and she goes through it, and she looks at it and makes sure it's legal. Okay, that's the court clerk's responsibility, right? And then she takes the paperwork and she signs her name and stamps it, and then she files it into the computer. Well, they don't use like the most recent court filing system where they would scan all the documents. They use the old system where they basically just enter in like an income and expense declaration, right? So it'll say like property declaration, and they'll enter it in the computer, and then they'll put February 11th. Then they'll enter in like the next thing, you know, which is this income and expense declaration. And then they'll enter that in the computer and then date it. So any of the paperwork that's actually in the old filing system, anything that's in the file, right, is going to be whatever you filed, right, at that moment. But what their judges were doing were taking the case file, they're taking that paperwork out, okay, and they're replacing it with whatever the hell they want. And then that's the new case file. So even if it says like income and expense declaration filed on this and this date, and then it should be, be either me or Kendra, right? It may not even say the name. So then they can change anything they want. So let's say there's dissolution of marriage paperwork. They could say it was Kendra that filed it. They could say it was me that filed it. They can change out the paperwork. Let's say it was a emergency custody order. They can take that paperwork out, and that's what they were doing, dude. They were going through the paperwork, and they were basically taking all this stuff out that I filed and all the things that I said about this case and about my kids, and replacing it with paperwork from her. So if I filed emergency custody orders, let's say in like 2020, then they would take that out and they would put emergency custody orders from her, because it would say it on the computer, obviously, right? You would be able to check the case docket, compare it to the case file. Okay, there was emergency custody orders filed on this date, but the paperwork would be changed. And that's highly illegal, dude. And not only that, but I would say every judge that's ever signed any paperwork in this family law case, as well as the criminal cases, were all involved in it. Because there was multiple times, dude, where paperwork got changed out and it was different judges that were handwriting. So that means that all the judges were aware of this case. They knew that they were going to be investigated, or they knew somebody was going to look through it. They went through and changed it all because they were afraid that they were going to get caught. So recently, we had I got some paperwork for child support. This is kind of like I've known this for a long time, but I didn't know, and I filed a complaint with the judicial performance, the Council of Judicial Performance, as well as a complaint with the State Attorney General's office. I didn't really know how to handle it. Like, how do I get these judges investigated for doing this to this case file? If the Supreme Court Justice comes out here to Shasta County, she's going to look through the case file that they have. And that's not going to help me at all. Even if an FBI agent or a federal agency or somebody from this even local law enforcement looks through the case file, that doesn't help. What helps is like if they get all the information that they can. If she had an attorney, she should have case files. My attorney should have copies of the case files. Any police reports and any other law enforcement agency has information, that would be imperative, right? Well, when I contacted the State Attorney General's office years ago, they started to go through all of it, like change everything, dude. So, like 2021, I believe, or 2022, the Supreme Court Justice did come out here and audit this case and look through it. but she's looking through what they have, right? So let me just show you just like just little details that me that I started noticing when I started going through all my paperwork, as well as the case files in the courthouse. Okay, and then also there's another thing is the fact that, dude, they've been breaking into my house and stealing records. Like, so, you know what I mean? So like right now, like with everybody, if everybody can see this, right? That's good, because that means that they can't break into my house anymore and steal anything. You understand? Like that's important to the people that are trying to help me. So they don't, because they don't want this stuff to get stolen or destroyed, right? I also have it copied in different, like multiple different storage areas. So like there's no way that they're going to be avoid accountability in this case. All right, so let me just show you some just like minor little details, okay? Like the placement of the stamp where this was filed. Okay, this is all the same thing. This is all the same exact paperwork. Okay, right? Same exact thing, right? Property declaration, property declaration, property declaration, right? They're all the same. Now look at the placement of this stamp, though. Okay, and then look at like the little spot right here, little placement. I guarantee you, if I measured this off, right, like it's going to be different, right? And then look at this one. Like, why is that off a little bit, right? Like, why is this off just a hair, right? It's off and it's like to the top. This is a little bit sideways. Okay, it's kind of turned a little bit. This one's not. This one's kind of down towards the bottom corner. This one's up towards the top, you know, up in the middle. Same thing with this one, right? This one's just a little bit different than that one. Just a little bit. There's a little bit, right? Okay, now why is that? Why is that? Right? This is all the same paperwork, man. This is all the same exact paperwork, the same name and address. That means somebody must have copied it, like photocopied it, taken this out, redid the stamp at a different time, like a different date. So this wouldn't even be February 11th that they're doing this. Now, why would they do that? Okay, well, there's a few differences in the paperwork. So the first thing that I noticed is that like the signatures and stuff these are not my signatures. Okay, it looks very similar, and my but it's not my signature. I don't do it like that. I never do my signature like that. So that means that somebody has actually went to the lengths of going through this paperwork and changing out the signatures, right, and filing it again. Okay, the other things that pop out are where they the clerks certify it. Okay, when the clerk certifies it, like, so see how like this is all black, right, and then this is a little bit lighter. Like, see that, like if it was copied, it would be looking like that, and this is like a little bit lighter, right? Well, I started noticing like in all the paperwork, not just a few things, like not just one or two pieces of paper that somebody filed. I mean, like, dude, we're talking about everything, every single thing that's filed in that case file. What her attorney does, I believe it's either my attorney or her attorney, they give us each a copy, right? They give us a copy of the paperwork that they filed. Okay, this one doesn't have that, right? There's no letter. So that means that every piece of paper that me or Kendra would have gotten back would have a J or a K. So why do I have this? Because this is K's and this is J's. Okay. Now that's very important, because the paperwork in the case file should have, if I filed it with my attorney, it basically wouldn't have those. So why do I have these, right? The other issue is like, look at this one, right? Like, this is initialed by a clerk, and these ones aren't, right? So that means a clerk basically stamped this and initialed it. That's what they usually do anyways, right? Then you start noticing like the little things, like this was filed in the case file. This is a copy of what was in the case file, okay? That's important, because when I get it from my attorney or a copy from my attorney, I don't have that. Okay, it would just be my copy. All right. So when you start noticing those things and you start going through them, dude, and then not only that, but you start going through all the paperwork, then that means that this clerk, whoever this is, she knows that there was files changed. She knows there's paperwork changed. She would have information on why it's changed. The judges know that it's changed, because the judges are the ones that are doing it to avoid accountability and to abduct my kids, right? To kidnap my kids. This is a just a file sheet, like a document sheet or a docket sheet that's filed when she files paperwork. With this, my attorney. Okay, so that means that like this clerk and this judge, right? This case and this time, right? My attorney, all all people that are involved in this case, they're aware of of the paperwork that's filed, right? You start going through like all the paperwork that I have, like this, like some, for instance, this right here. This is stamped on the top. This is the date. Okay. This is crossed out, right? Now look at this. Dude, that's the same exact handwriting as this one as well, right? But look at where the date's at. The date's not up here. And then if you look real closely, you notice that somebody whited out the date right there, or the date right there. You can see it underneath. Why would they do that? And then not only that, but then it's restamped in a different location, and then it's initialed by a clerk. The same with the stamp here. This is the clerk stamp, and this is the signature of the stamp. So that means Honeycutt changed this piece of paper, redid it for the judges, and then put it back in the case file. Now you start realizing that like there's a lot more people involved in changing records and what's going on, dude. Because it's not just, I mean, look at the placement of where that case file number is, right? And then look at where this one is. It's like a little bit up. This one's down towards the center. This one's kind of off and to the left, right? You start noticing those things, dude, and you start waiting, like, wait a minute, dude. Why is it like that? This is the same paper right here. This is all the same thing right here. This is all the same exact summons. Okay, same handwriting in the top. Like same handwriting, the way that this name is. Same thing right here. There's 3 of them right here, right? They're all the same. But then this is different every time. That means that somebody's taking the original piece of paper, like this would be the summons, this would be in the case file, okay? They would take it, they're going to redo it, they're going to change it, whatever they want to change, do to change it, right? And then they're going to refile it. And then now this one has the county seal. Dude, that's insane, dude. Like, think about it. Like having a clerk initial this, that means basically she's worked on it. None of the clerks are going to say anything if they're breaking the law. They're not going to want to talk about it because they know what they did. You know what I mean? None of the judges are going to want to talk about it or say anything because they know what they did. They're waiting. They're basically waiting to get arrested, and if they get arrested, then they'll have to make deals or whatever. But they're not going to say anything. The fact that I started going through all this paperwork and noticing these things, like that means that the judges have been lying to law enforcement, lying to social workers, lying to the DA. The DA is probably lying about this entire situation as well. Everybody's lying, and everybody's got a piece. Everybody's got a controlled interest in this case. Because if they're going to be held accountable, dude, then they want to know what the hell's going on, right? Why if the case file's been forged, any little thing has been changed, right? That means this case is null and void, period. It doesn't matter if it's a family law case. It doesn't matter why I got arrested. It doesn't matter why the kids got taken away. None of it matters. It's all null and void. If you want it, like the way that I interpret the law is that if they wanted to give me my kids back, okay, and then refile something in the court, in a different court, like probably Sacramento court, county court, then they could do something like that. But the fact that the state and the county have been involved in doing this, like they would have no credibility in this case anymore. They would have zero credibility, dude. Like they couldn't really, you understand what I'm saying? Like they couldn't really go file custody for my kids again or have legal rights to my kids ever again because of this case. You know what I mean? Because they basically forged documents and signatures. We're talking social workers from Health and Human Services. We're talking judges. We're talking lawyers. We're talking the district attorney's office. And then when I pointed this out to the judge, I was very clear with him, dude. I was like, I know what you did, and I know what happened to my daughter, and I was like, and I'm not okay with it. And I said, I want custody of my kids, and I'm gonna walk away, and I'll just leave it alone. I said because I understood, dude, already 4 years ago. I understood how the impact of this case. What the impact on this case would be, like what the impact on this entire country, dude. But the judge he's a real prick, dude. And he basically just said, go ahead, sue the county. And I said, what? You want me to file a lawsuit against the state and have taxpayer money pay for your mistakes and your your bad behavior, you know what I mean? Like, and then that's what it is. It's his nasty, gross, bad behavior, and it's disgusting, dude. It's disgusting that happened to my kids. It's disgusting that they won't let me take to my kids to a private doctor, we had private insurance for years. I had Kaiser, like that's what the kids grew up on. Why should I have to go to the Health and Human Services or any other hospital just because the state says so. The state has screwed me up, has screwed me on this case. The state, and the county basically abducted my kids, dude. Because if any, like, so you have to understand, like, if they're aware of this, then other people are aware of this. That means the social worker was aware of this when I got arrested last year. That means the DA was aware of this when I got arrested last year. I mean, like, look at the difference between this. Like, this says that it is received by the clerk's office, okay, on January 8th. Now look at the difference. This is the same exact handwriting, dude. Like, to a T. This is the same exact handwriting. That means that this judge right here, she redid this paperwork. I mean, she forged it. Now look, it says this: the parents to follow this court order. Jace is, and then look at where this says. Right here, parents are to follow the court order. Jace is not to be left alone, and then the not is over here. So that means most definitely this has been changed and forged, without a doubt, 100%. Now, who filed this paperwork? Well, I filed this paperwork, and it's a notice of hearing, and it's temporary emergency custody orders, man. Back in January 2000, January 10th, 2000. So that means somebody went through the case file, filed it in her name instead. So and then basically, I don't know, denied the order. On top of that, man, so a lot of the signatures are not hers. Like, that's not her signature, right? I have her original signature. I know exactly what it looks like. That's not her That's not her original signature. Like, that's not her signature, dude. That's not how she signs her name. Okay, so then you start to notice. Then you start go to the declaration. What's been filed? Okay, this is very important to me right here. Okay, I filed the direct declaration, and I wrote all the reasons that I wanted emergency custody orders. Pretty much. Okay, like, I'll go over it later because this video is getting long, but I want to go over this real quick. So they redid a declaration. Okay, they put this in the case file. So now any person that comes and reads this case file, they're going to read it and they're going to be like, oh, fuck, this guy's crazy. Or, oh, fuck, he's a rapist. Dude, they took mine out. Everything that was going on in my case, in the case for the past 7 years, they took all that out. They put their own in there. And then this isn't even her handwriting. So, I mean, like, now you understand what I'm saying, right? It's like they edited my life. They edited the kids' lives. They put all her stuff in there, all their narrative, what they wanted it to say, to back up the criminal charges that were filed against me, to back up the fact that I went to jail, right? Then they back up all that with the declaration. So all these things are being said that are basically from the judges or from the county and the police officers and whatnot, right? That says nothing to do with her. Like read this part right here. Like, it says right here. He lives with his mother. He has no car, no employment. He's convicted felon and still harassing me daily. He has been having psychotic episodes lately, which has led him to file talking of conspiracy theories and other detrimental talk and threats to myself. I have no criminal history. I have a steady job, vehicle, and I am able to support myself and my children. Now think about that for a second, dude. I have a car for one. I'm living with my mom right now because she's sick. So we have a house. The kids were fine here. Everything was cool. Why the hell would somebody go back through and put this in there so that when somebody comes and reads my case file or takes the case, like, say I wanted to hire an attorney, right? Well, she's going to go, hey, let me look at the case file and let me see if I want to take this case. These judges know that. They're judges, dude. They know that. The district attorney, she knows that. So they basically destroyed my credibility, my character. Like, defamation, absolutely. Disparaging marks, absolutely. This is their narrative. That's what I keep saying, like, about the narrative. This is their narrative, dude. This didn't happen. Kendra didn't say this. This isn't even her handwriting. That's insane, dude. And not only that, but this is the same exact paperwork that was filed by me on the emergency court order, right? So that means they took this paperwork, copied it, redid it, had the judge on the bottom, refill out her comments, and then put their own declaration in there. And then this declaration is now gone in the case file, and then this one's there now. So anybody that looks at this or reads this, dude, they're gonna just be like, oh well, yeah, he's crazy. Look what he did. He did all these things. Oh my gosh. But you're looking at it from their perspective. You're looking at it from, like, society's perspective on everything in the courtroom is legal because they're judges and they're clerks and they're bailiffs. So you know what I mean? Like that is not the case in this county. This county fucked this case up, dude, from the very beginning. The judge forged documents, and and 4 years ago he convinced everybody to help him fix it. And they said was their solution because there was other judges that were on the hook for helping him. Judge Kennedy and Judge Flynn, they were on the hook for helping him. So they convinced all the other judges basically to go through the case file with them and change everything. That is crazy, dude. And then they put me in jail. And they put me in jail and they said that I had mental problems. And I've never had mental problems a day in my life. Like, that's what I'm saying is like, I wasn't talking about conspiracy theories or, you know what I mean? Anything like that, or talking threats or anything to her. She doesn't have any evidence of that. The only evidence of anything that's happened in this case is the case file. That's it. They don't have text messages from her or anything like that. Not only that, but they were already planning on putting me in the mental exam. They were planning that. So that's why they went through the case file and they put these things in there because they were planning this for years or maybe a year. So by the time I got arrested, dude, they had already have a plan.